Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Robert Allen, and joining me today from the Australian Army is Warrant Officer Class 1, Joanne Davey. We warmly welcome the family of Private Reuben Nicol Nottage, who are watching the live stream of this evening's ceremony. His story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of the RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem. If you require a seat, please do so. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private Reuben Nicol Nottage. Reuben Nottage was born on the 19th of September 1891 in Macclesfield, South Australia, to Charles Frederick and Elizabeth Nottage. One of 10 children, Reuben was their second son. He and his siblings attended McLaren Flat Primary School and later McLaren Vale Public School. About 40 kilometres south of Adelaide, McLaren Vale had long been one of South Australia's best wine regions, including the Hardy's Winery and the Nottage Hill label. Reuben Nottage got involved in the business at a vineyard, cultivating grapes for winemaking. Almost a year after the outbreak of war in August 1914, Reuben decided to enlist. 2 nights before leaving, a public social gathering was held at the McLaren Vale Hall to farewell 4 young local enlistees. The night saw speeches by local clergy, followed by music and dancing. Reuben and his colleagues signed up in Adelaide on the 18th of July 1915. Allotted to the 10th Reinforcements for the 16th Infantry Battalion, Reuben was 23 years old. After basic training, he embarked upon the troopship Ballarat, which departed Adelaide on the 14th of September 1915. Arriving in Egypt several weeks later, it was not until early November that Reuben and the battalion's other reinforcements reached Gallipoli. They landed on the peninsula on November the 13th and were taken in by the 16th Battalion. Reuben was put in 11 Platoon, Charlie Company. The Gallipoli campaign had all but run its course, however, and within a month the Allies were evacuating. After arriving back in Egypt, Reuben suffered from a bout of bronchitis. Rejoining his unit in early February 1916, the battalion trained and reorganised before its next campaign, the Western Front. By June, it was in northern France. Reuben was present for duty when the 16th Battalion, as it endured the horrors of the Battle of Pozières and the Somme winter campaign that followed. During that time, Reuben would have gotten word about his younger brother. 3 years his junior, Donald Nottage had been living in New Zealand before the war, and in October 1915 had joined the Canberra Regiment. He was killed at Fleur on the Somme on the 15th of September 1916. In the spring of 1917, the Germans pulled back to an immensely strong position called the Hindenburg Line. One of the key villages in its defences was Bullecourt, and it was here that the Australians would next attack. Before dawn on the 11th of April 1917, 2 brigades of the 4th Australian Division advanced across the snow-covered fields as traces and flares lit up the sky. Without tank or artillery support, they gamely worked their way through gaps in the dense coils of barbed wire, but they had been spotted. Before long, the Australians were under heavy fire and taking casualties. They made it to the German trenches and captured them, but were then pounded by enemy artillery and unable to resist the strong German counterattacks that followed. Within a few hours, it was all over. The division's losses were over 3,000, including more than 1,000 captured. The 16th Battalion alone suffered with 636 casualties, including Reuben Nottage. At first, he was listed as missing in action. Then it was thought, perhaps hoped, that he had survived and been taken prisoner. But within a few weeks, it was confirmed that Reuben had been killed in action. He was 25 years old. Reuben's death was reported back home in the South Australian newspapers. The Observer said he was a man of fine physique, highly respected and esteemed by a large circle of friends. His family paid tribute to his death and sacrifice with the epitaph, "Greater love hath no man than this, that he lay down his life for his friends." His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, amongst almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Reuben Nicol, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old as we the left grow old. Age shall not weary them nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director and staff, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support of the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.